Hello friends, it's me, and today let's watch the downfall of Etsy style theory from the style tiers. Together, let's go, let's start. Thank you.
Etsy is dead. What was once the home of makers selling really cool handmade items has become infested with higher fees, drop shippers, and of course, AI art. But can it be saved, or is this the end of Etsy? Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory, the show that's handmade just for you. Now,
Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory. Hello.
speaking of handmade, we have to talk about Etsy. You know, the store that sells everything from handmade friendship bracelets to hand-pressed flowers and, very pretty hand-painted dice. What? I don't have a problem? You have a problem! Now, even if
That is a lot.
you don't frequent Etsy, you've probably heard some of the tea. Etsy's been, how do I put this? It's been going through a hard time.
Back during the pandemic, Etsy was king. Its stock prices soared, and it was every crafter's favorite craft store to sell their stuff.
But ever since that high, Etsy has taken a massive tumble.
In 2023, Etsy laid off around 11% of its workforce, and just a few months later, a questionable group of investors came in and bought up 13% of the company, with the goal of turning things around ASAP.
Listen,
So case in points, the global pandemic, aka COVID-19, was during 2020, 2021, 2021 and 2022. Past these 3 years, and well, life got back to normal.
I don't care if Etsy's big executive dudes get their gold. They'll be fine. But as a lover of art and a crafter myself, I am really concerned about the little guys. You know, the artists, the makers, and of course, the customers. These are the people getting screwed over by Etsy trying to recoup its losses. Etsy's main concern is think of the shareholders. I hate it.
This, along with
I agree, I totally dislike it as well. The shareholders, they are millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, multi-billionaires, versus the vast majority of individuals that is not even a millionaire. Who is more important? Money or people? You tell me.
other drastic changes that, yes, we will get to, have led to longtime sellers ditching Etsy for greener pastures. And that sucks, because I loved Etsy. It was a hub of all different types of creatives, all in one easy-to-find place.
Over the years, I purchased a lot from Etsy. I purchased prints, stickers, and yes, a lot of dice, and you've even seen some of it in these videos. But for Etsy to be saved, it's going to have to address the 3 biggest problems on its platform, or die trying.
If there's one thing that sellers on Etsy have been the most vocal about, it's problem number 1.
The fees! The fees! The fees! I mean, pricing out the core users of your platform is a very bold strategy, Etsy. How's it working?
Listen, unless Etsy's executives are planning to learn to embroider pillows anytime soon, it seems like keeping your sellers happy should be your number 1 priority.
But hey, maybe me and all of the other thousands of artists on Etsy are wrong. Maybe we are just being dramatic. Maybe these fees really aren't so bad. So let's review.
Before you can start selling your art prints or custom bookbindings over on Etsy, you have to pay their one-time setup fee, which, when I tried it for myself for this episode, came out to $29.
Okay, I'll admit that's not too bad.
But once your store's up and running, you're gonna want to start filling that store with, items to sell, right?
Well, there's a fee for that.
Etsy charges a listing fee of 20 cents per item that you put up in your store.
But then, if you actually do sell that item, you are charged that listing fee again. Yes, again, to restock that item. What is this, Amazon? But that's not all. After 4 months, if you have not sold that product but you want to keep it available in your store, you have to pay that listing fee again.
All of this is making me so stressed. I could really use a recharge or something right now.
I can help with that.
Ah! A monster!
I'm not a monster. I'm a mask that's about to change your life. Thanks to our sponsor, Amiro.
What is it?
I'm so glad you asked. While it may look like something straight out of Silence of the Lambs or Star Trek, the Amiro 5-in-1 LED therapy mask is actually all about giving your skin a spa-level treatment at home. Whether you're dealing with with acne or signs of aging, this mask is built to take your skin from drab to fab.
Wait, how can it do that?
Let me show you by entering the LED zone. Unlike most light treatment masks, which just use one type of light, Amiro uses 5 layers of light to target every part of your skin and give you the best results. If you're suffering from acne, the yellow light will help take away that redness and scarring, while the red and blue lights will help with inflammation.
Oh, I could definitely use that.
Duh, we all could. Skin maintenance is hard, or it was until now. Amiro's mask covers your full face to distribute the light evenly and effectively. Plus, its mirrored interior helps you hit those hard-to-reach spots, like the corners of your nose.
But it looks really scary. Won't that light hurt my eyes or something?
Nope. With Amiro's goggle design, your eyes stay protected, and the mask stays lifted, keeping it cleaner than other masks. And today, you and the rest of the Style Theory community can get $70 off of your mask, plus free shipping and a 90-day money-back guarantee. All you have to do is go to the link in the description and use code 70STYLE to get yours.
Wait, I don't get to keep that one?
No, this one is mine. Bye!
Well, I guess I better click the link in the description and use code 70STYLE to get one before they're gone. Thanks again, Amiro.
But not even
So thank you so much for supporting the Style Theorist in this video. Thank you.
a spa treatment can make what's about to happen next any less rage-inducing.
Etsy's most notorious fee is its transaction fee, which takes 6.5% off every sale. Yikes. And this fee is only going up. When Etsy first launched back in 2005, there was no fee, but Etsy had to make money somehow. So they quickly instituted a 3.5% transaction fee.
And that was the standard for years, until 2018 when they raised that rate to 5%. And then they raised it again in 2022 to the 6.5% that we have today.
As you can imagine, this did not go over well with Etsy sellers. In fact, when that 6.5% fee was announced, thousands of Etsy sellers went on strike and filed petitions to get Etsy to reverse the change. But Etsy didn't budge.
And that's not even the end of all the fees. You have currency conversion fees, payment transaction fees. Oh, and don't get me started. Don't even get me started on the shipping fee.
Too late. Normally, when you buy something off Etsy, you, the customer, are responsible for paying the shipping costs, which makes sense. Etsy sellers are people, not Amazon. They can't afford to eat the cost of shipping on every order.
Except Etsy really wants to be like Senpai Amazon.
They strongly encourage sellers to offer free shipping on orders over $35. But who actually pays for that free shipping? Well, the seller could swallow that cost, but for small businesses with thin margins, that's not always possible. Of course,
And the vast majority of individuals, the vast majority of individuals are the small sellers. The top executive don't view those small sellers as people. They don't. They just want more registry on the list. One more registry on the list. It sucks.
maybe Etsy is a true bro and pays for it themselves.
Don't make me laugh. Instead, they tell sellers to just raise your prices.
What?
In fact, they have a whole web tool devoted to showing sellers how to raise their prices to cover that free shipping.
Which means that in the end, customers still pay for shipping, even when it's listed as free. Sure, Chad, makes total sense. But you
So case and point, the customers suffers, the seller suffers, and who benefits? The top executive, the shareholders. The shareholders benefits.
know what doesn't make sense? The ads. Yeah, Etsy's ad policy is freaking bonkers.
If you're a seller on Etsy, there are two different types of ads you can run to try and reach more customers: on-site Etsy ads and off-site ads. Etsy ads let you pay to have your product be shown at the top of results when customers search for things on Etsy, which, to be fair, is pretty standard for most retail marketplaces nowadays.
But Amy, I hear you saying to your screen, an ad isn't a fee, and that is exactly where you're wrong.
You see, Etsy's other ad option, you know, the offsite ads that are meant to help show your products to potential customers on other websites, well, they are optional.
Until it's not.
If your shop makes more than $10,000 a year, those ads are mandatory. Yep.
Whether you like it or not, if you are one of those successful top-tier shops, Etsy is going to force you to run off-site ads. And on top of that, if that ad is actually successful in getting you another sale, then you will be charged, say it with me class, another fee. Yay.
Which comes out to 12% off each sale for that top-tier shop. And if your shop isn't in that top tier, then that
Stop for us. Are the top executive in the office at Etsy HQ not human? How could they be so heartless? How could they be so heartless? Fees after fees after fees after fees after fees that actively harm the seller and the buyer. How could they do that?
fee is 15%. 15!
Yes, and that is on top of all of our other fees. Look at these fees. They can barely fit on screen.
Clearly, the fees have it. But that is only strike one against Etsy. Fees aren't Etsy's only problem. Instead, customers and sellers alike have to keep their eyes out for an even more deadly foe, dropshippers.
If you're one of the few people who hasn't watched our episodes yet on Temu and Shein, then here's the TLDR of what dropshipping actually is.
Dropshipping is a sales model where a store, or seller in this case, doesn't actually keep any of their inventory on hand. Instead, when a customer puts in an order, that order is sent directly to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer sends the goods directly to the customer. By cutting out the middleman, aka the seller, it allows dropshippers to be able to offer products at a much lower price point.
Cool question. Am I the only one who feels like that's the opposite of what Etsy is meant to be?
Remember that items on Etsy, by their own branding, are meant to have that human touch, which means that things like dropshipping should be against their terms of service, right?
Well, maybe. Kind of. Depending on how you read it.
You see, according to Etsy's rules, everything listed for sale on Etsy must be made, designed, hand-picked, or sourced by you. And that leaves a lot of gray area for people to wildin' out.
Technically, the rules don't require an item to be handmade or made by you at all.
For example, let's say you make a really cool design to put on some t-shirts. You can then outsource the printing and shipping of those t-shirts to a third party. Technically, this is a form of dropshipping called print on demand. But not only is it a pretty standard practice in the fashion industry, you still made and own that design. You just outsource parts of the process, which is all above board according to Etsy.
And when you look a little bit closer at those rules, you may notice the word that I noticed: sourced. Once again, it's a measure of technicalities. Technically, a dropshipper is sourcing the item that they're selling to you. And technically, by doing that, they are not breaking any of Etsy's rules. Technically. Ugh, God, I'm starting to hate that word. But this...
Sorry. Okay, actually, you know what? Sorry.
trend of dropshipping has led to bigger problems than just flooding searches with endless identical items. It's led sellers to a life of crime.
While it's not necessarily hard to get a commercial license to use someone else's design, many people don't want to take the time or the money to do it legally. Art theft on Etsy is rampant, especially among dropshippers. I mean, take a look at this Etsy store with over 250,000 sales. At first glance, it seems like any ordinary store.
However, the closer you look, the more things start to look a little bit sus.
First off, look at the sheer variety of the designs. There's a watercolor-inspired hippie van, a 3D-looking shark, and a military boot design thing.
I don't personally get the appeal of this one, but then not all art is made for me, and that is okay.
But that's not the point here. Now, sure, it's possible that this is an artist who happens to be super talented in multiple different art styles. But it's not likely. In fact, it's just not true.
When I did a reverse image search on these, they came back being sold on dozens of other sites. including other Etsy stores. Now, there's a lot of issues around selling stuff that has IPs that you don't own that we don't have time for today. You can actually watch this video right here if you want to learn more about that specifically. However, when it comes to selling things with art that's made by other artists that you don't have permission to sell, well, that was rude. That was pretty rude.
And don't just take my word for it. Etsy themselves also seem to have had their doubts. If you try and look up the seller on Etsy today, they're gone. Now, I seriously doubt that a business that was doing over 250,000 sales would just go under.
Now, credit where credit's due, it does seem like Etsy is doing something to try and fix this issue.
In 2022, Etsy announced that they removed over 1.9 million listings for violating their various policies, which included a number of dropshipping stores. And by the next year, that number had doubled to 3.8 million.
So when it comes to dropshipping, Etsy is kind of at an impasse. Technically, it's not illegal on their site, and they are doing some things to try and fix it. Technically, even if you can still find a lot of very questionable items on their site. Yep, even on Etsy, you can't avoid the AI situation. And
Oh, come on. AI? Seriously? Seriously? I'm sorry.
I don't just mean those AI summaries that every single website seems to be using nowadays, including Etsy. I mean 100% undeniable AI art being sold on Etsy. I know. Etsy's supposed to be the home of the human artist, the handmade items that you can buy from real, actual people. So obviously, AI use has to be against the terms and service of Etsy, right? Wrong. Etsy has come out and publicly said that selling AI art on their site is A-okay. Completely fair, not a problem. So much for keeping commerce human, right, Etsy?
This means that anyone could use an AI image generator to make a picture and then turn around and sell it on Etsy with no issues. Heck, you could sell a digital download of that AI-generated image for someone else to print at home and still be well within the rules according to Etsy.
Now, to be fair, there are some rules to selling AI-generated art on Etsy, but those rules really just come down to don't break our other rules.
No nudity, no AI prompts, no IP thefts, which is already a murky area where AI is concerned.
But apparently that doesn't bother Etsy. As long as you disclose in your listing that the thing is AI generated, then Etsy's like, yeah, A-okay, sell away. And it's not just disappointing, it's sad. Like I said at the start of the episode, I used to love getting stuff on Etsy. But at this point, after hearing all of the things that they're doing, I don't know if I want to keep supporting a company like this. I don't want to support a company that doesn't support its users. The users that built them up in the first place, that use their site to make a living or just share their art with other people. But at the same time, there are still thousands of creative human artists using Etsy to sell their stuff. Heck, I know people in real life who use it because it's the only means of getting their art to other people. And I'd hate to leave all of those artists behind just because Etsy didn't hold up its end of the bargain. So what can we do?
The answer is to figure out how to spot the difference between an artist and a con artist.
First, before you buy anything, check out the seller's store page.
While things like number of sales, age of store, and reviews feel like they should be the best way to gauge authenticity, as we've seen today, just because a store is big doesn't make it human.
But you know where you can look? The About section.
One of the best things about Etsy is that not only are these small creators making really cool things, but they're telling stories. And real human creators love to share their stories about how they got into making art. You'll often find that they'll share photos or videos of the creation process in order to prove that they're making everything by hand.
But if you're still not sure, then take a closer look at the listing itself.
You can easily drag the listing pictures into Google Images, or if you're on Chrome, it's even easier. Just right-click on one of the listing pictures and select Search with Google Lens. This will search the internet for similar images. And if you find the same item is being sold on other websites like, say, Temu or Shein, you might have a reseller on your hands.
And finally, if you're looking at a listing and you just look at it and go, yeah, that really looks like AI, hit that Control F and search for AI on the listing.
Remember, AI is allowed on Etsy, so as long as it's disclosed, there should be no reason why someone would lie about making AI art, right? people.
It's not a perfect system, but the best thing you can do is trust your gut. If you think a real talented artist made that product, then go ahead and buy it. But if you look at it and still think something smells a little fishy, then feel free to toss that fish back into the ocean of scammers where it came from.
But that does bring us to the question of the day. Is Etsy really dead? While they are taking baby steps to curbing the massive amount of spam listings on their site, it's only a band-aid on a bigger problem. If Etsy wants to survive, it's going to have to make a hard choice.
Support the community that built its platform in the first place, or die a slow, sad death.
Because ultimately speaking, it's the humans that matters the most. The people that makes up the organization that matters most. We are all humans. Have a heart. Do your part. Thank you so much.
Many artists are using TikTok and Instagram to build audiences and directing them not to Etsy, but to their own personal websites. Websites where they can make the rules and keep the profits. And their customers are following them.
It's your move, Etsy, and I hope it's the right one.
But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep shopping smart. Up next on Style Theory.
Nike has fallen off. Its stock is in the gutter. Its street cred, non-existent. Heck, even Skechers has more aura. So the question is, what happened to Nike?
So thank you so much for watching this video from the Style Theorists. Here's what I believe in, alright? If there's downfall, there'll be uprise. There'll be uprise, there'll be downfall. It is quite inevitable. I just hope for the overall betterment of everyone. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Subscribe.